What if a lonely cowboy found love in the most unexpected place, and it threatened to destroy everything he'd ever known? The bullet tears through the stagecoach window 3 inches from her head. Elena Vasquez doesn't scream. Women who grow up in the shadow of Ramon Vasquez, the devil of the borderlands, learn early that screaming only makes you a target. Instead, she drops to the floor of the coach, her heart hammering against her ribs like a caged bird, desperate for freedom. Outside, in the dust-choked main street of Redemption Flats, 6 masked riders circle like vultures, their revolvers spitting fire and death into the afternoon sun. This is the Wild West of 1887, where the law arrives too late, and justice comes from the barrel of a gun, where men carve their destinies from unforgiving land, and women learn to be as hard as the desert rock or perish, where a single moment can change everything. But before we ride deeper into this tale of bullets and heartbreak, tell me, where are you watching from today? Are you in a place as wild and free as these frontier lands, or somewhere far removed from the dust and danger of the Old West? Drop a comment below. I'd love to know. Jack McKenna sees the ambush unfold from the shadows of the Silver Dollar Saloon. He's been standing there for the better part of an hour, nursing warm whiskey and his own darker demons. For 15 years, he's perfected the art of being invisible, of drifting through towns like a ghost, speaking to no one but his sorrel mare. His weathered face tells the story of a man who's seen too much, done things he can't undo, and chosen solitude as penance. Every instinct screams at him to stay put, to let the robbery play out, to remain what he's always been, a shadow passing through, leaving no trace. But then he sees her. The stagecoach door explodes open, and Elena Vasquez stumbles into the street, her dark hair wild, her eyes fierce, despite the terror he can see flickering there. She's perhaps 25, dressed in traveling clothes too fine for this rough country, and there's something about the way she holds herself, proud, defiant, even with 3 guns trained on her, that reaches into Jack's chest and twists. One of the bandits grabs her arm. She spits in his face. Jack's hand finds his Colt before his mind catches up. He steps into the sunlight, and suddenly he's no longer invisible. The first shot drops the man holding Elena. The second sends the others scrambling for cover. In the chaos of gun smoke and shouting, Jack moves like a man possessed, or perhaps like a man remembering who he used to be before he learned to be nothing at all. When the dust settles, 3 bandits are dead, 2 have fled, and Jack is standing over Elena with his gun still smoking. Their eyes meet, and the world narrows to just this moment, her hand in his, as he pulls her to her feet, the way she doesn't let go immediately, the question in her gaze that mirrors the confusion in his own chest. Something is happening here. Something that has nothing to do with bullets and everything to do with the way her touch makes him feel human again after so many years of being a ghost. "Thank you," she breathes, and her voice is like water in the desert. "You need to leave town," Jack says, roughly, already turning away, already trying to rebuild the walls she somehow cracked with just 2 words and a look. "I can't." Elena's hand catches his arm, urgent, desperate. "My father, Ramon Vasquez, he sent men to bring me back, to marry me off to a monster. Please. I have money, I can pay you. I just need to get to California, to freedom." Ramon Vasquez. The name hits Jack like a fist to the gut. The outlaw king. The man who destroyed Jack's life, 15 years ago and set him on this lonely road, and now his daughter is asking Jack for help. Jack should say no, should ride out tonight, and never look back. Instead, he hears himself say, "We leave at dawn." The loneliest man in the West just made a choice that will change everything. 3 days into the desert, and Jack McKenna is beginning to remember what it feels like to not be alone. The realization terrifies him more than the dust plume he's been watching on the horizon for the past hour, the telltale sign of riders, moving fast, moving with purpose. The Garrett brothers, 3 brothers, 1 shared conscience, none. Ramon Vasquez's most feared enforcers, men who've turned murder into an art form across 5 territories. They're getting closer, aren't they? Elena's voice cuts through the desert wind. She's proven herself tougher than Jack expected. No complaints about the killing pace, the meager meals, the nights sleeping on hard ground with only saddle blankets for comfort. But he can hear the fear threading through her words now, thin and sharp as wire. "We'll make the trading post by nightfall," Jack says, though he's not sure it's true. "There's a back way through the canyon. We can lose them." What he doesn't say, he's not sure they can outrun death itself. Before we ride into what happens next, I have to ask, have you ever had to run from your past? Have you ever felt like no matter how far you rode, your mistakes were always just one horizon behind you? That's what love does in the Wild West. It doesn't just make you vulnerable. It makes you want to stop running, even when stopping might mean dying. They reach the trading post as the sun bleeds out across the western sky, painting the desert in shades of rust and gold. Jack's instincts are screaming. Something's wrong. The post is too quiet, the horses in the corral too skittish. He signals Elena to stay back, his hand already on his Colt. The Garrett brothers step out from the shadows like nightmares given form. Jack McKenna. The eldest, Thomas Garrett, smiles like a rattlesnake might, if rattlesnakes could smile. "Been a long time. Heard you found yourself a little bird. Ramon wants her back. You can ride out. This doesn't have to be your fight." But it is his fight. The moment Elena's hand found his in Redemption Flats, it became his fight. The moment he looked into her eyes and saw something he thought he'd lost forever, hope, it became his fight. The gunfight is brief and brutal. Jack moves like he's possessed, like 15 years of survival instinct have condensed into pure lethal grace. But the Garretts are professionals, and there are 3 of them. A bullet grazes Jack's ribs. Another punches through his shoulder. Elena grabs a rifle from a dead man's hands and fires, wild, untrained, but desperate enough to buy them seconds. They escape into the desert on wounded horses, with wounded bodies, riding straight into the teeth of a sandstorm that rises up like God's own fury. The world becomes nothing but stinging sand and howling wind, and the desperate need to find shelter before the desert kills them more efficiently than the Garretts ever could. The abandoned mission materializes from the storm like a ghost, crumbling adobe walls, roof half gone, but it's shelter. They collapse inside, gasping, bleeding, alive. "Let me see," Elena says, and her hands are surprisingly steady as she tears away Jack's shirt, revealing the wound. In the flickering light of their meager fire, her face is all concentration and concern, and Jack realizes with a jolt that it's been 15 years since anyone looked at him like this, like he mattered, like his pain mattered. "Why did you do it?" she asks as she binds his wound with strips torn from her petticoat. This daughter of an outlaw king, tending to him with careful hands. Why risk your life for someone you don't even know? Jack's hand finds her cheek, rough calluses against smooth skin. Because the moment I saw you, I knew. You were worth breaking my silence for. Worth remembering how to be human for. Elena leans in, and their kiss is soft and desperate and tastes like sand and blood and promise. Outside, the storm rages. Somewhere behind them, the Garretts are regrouping. Ahead lies uncertainty and danger. But in this moment, in this broken mission in the middle of nowhere, Jack McKenna, the loneliest man in the West, isn't lonely anymore. And that changes everything. The dawn breaks blood red over Devil's Canyon, and Jack McKenna is riding toward his own execution. He left Elena sleeping in the small boarding house in Silver Creek. Left her a note that said everything and nothing. I'm sorry. This is the only way. You deserve to be free. 3 weeks they'd had together. 3 weeks of pretending to be a married couple in a town trying to scratch civilization from the dirt. 3 weeks of normal life. Of morning coffee and evening walks and falling asleep with her hand in his. 3 weeks of heaven before the inevitable hell. Because yesterday, Jack saw the bodies, a family, the Hendersons, who'd given them shelter for one night, slaughtered by the Garrett brothers as a message. Blood on his hands, even if he didn't pull the trigger. Blood that would keep flowing until he ended this. So he sent word to Ramon Vasquez. Meet me at Devil's Canyon. Just you, me, and your daughter's freedom. What he didn't count on was Elena being even more stubborn than he is. Did you really think, she says, riding up beside him as the canyon walls rise like tombstones around them, that I would let you face my father alone? Jack's heart lurches, fear and love and fury tangled together. I told you to stay. I don't take orders from cowboys with death wishes. Her eyes flash, and God help him. Even now, especially now, he loves her. Besides, you don't know my father like I do. He'll never let you walk away. He'll kill you the moment he gets what he wants. That's why you can't be here. I'm exactly where I need to be. The argument dies as they round the bend and see them. Ramon Vasquez and his army of 15 riders spread across the canyon floor like a plague. The outlaw king himself sits his horse with the casual confidence of a man who's never lost, will never lose, can't conceive of losing. Now, I need you to lean in close, because this is where everything changes. This is where the lonely cowboy and the outlaw's daughter face down the monster that's been chasing them across half the West. Have you ever had to face something that terrified you? Something you knew might destroy you. But you did it anyway because someone you loved was counting on you? That's what love in the Wild West demands, not just pretty words, but the willingness to die for them. Jackie, boy, Ramon's voice echoes off the canyon walls, mocking and cold. 15 years, and you're still making trouble. Give me my daughter, and maybe, I let you ride out. Jack's hand hovers near his Colt. 15 against 2. Impossible odds, but he's faced impossible before. Then Ramon's smile turns to ice. Oh, I should mention, I don't actually want Elena back because I miss her. She stole something from me. The combination to my fortune. Memorized in a code only she knows. I'm gonna get it back, one bullet at a time if I have to. Starting with you, McKenna. The Garrett brothers shift in their saddles, positioning for clear shots. Elena steps forward, her voice ringing clear. I'll give you the combination, Father, every number, but only if you let Jack live. You keep your word, and you get your fortune. Elena, no, Jack starts. Trust me, she whispers, and there's something in her eyes, something fierce and clever and absolutely terrifying. Do you trust me? He does. God help him. He does. Elena begins reciting numbers, coordinates that mean nothing to Jack. Ramon smiles, triumphant, already counting his gold. The Garrett brothers raise their rifles, and that's when the canyon erupts. Lawmen pour in from three sides, the territorial marshal and 20 deputies, following coordinates Elena embedded in her combination. Not the location of gold, but the location of this ambush. She's been playing her father from the start, leading him into a trap. Ramon's face twists with rage and betrayal. He wheels his horse toward Elena, his gun rising, and Jack knows with absolute certainty what comes next. He throws himself between them as the gun fires. The bullet meant for Elena tears through Jack's shoulder, spinning him backward. As he falls, as the world tilts and blurs, his last thought is crystal clear. She's safe. That's enough. His gun fires once, purely on instinct. Ramon Vasquez drops his weapon, clutching his hand. The outlaw king, disarmed by a dying man's final shot. But the question that echoes through Devil's Canyon as Jack's vision fades isn't whether they've won. It's whether Jack will survive to see the victory. Jack wakes to the sound of rain. For a moment, he doesn't know where he is. Heaven, hell, somewhere in between. Then the pain registers, his shoulder on fire, his ribs aching with every breath. And he knows he's alive. More than that, he knows she's here, because her hand is wrapped around his, warm and real, and holding on like she'll never let go. You're awake? Elena's voice breaks, and when he turns his head, he sees tears streaming down her face. You stupid, brave, impossible man. You nearly died. But I didn't. Jack's voice comes out rough as gravel. You're safe. That's all that matters. They're in Silver Creek's small infirmary, he learns. He's been unconscious for 3 days. Ramon Vasquez is in chains, awaiting trial. The Garrett brothers are dead, 2 killed in the canyon shootout, the eldest caught trying to flee and hung by a vigilante mob before the law could claim him. The outlaw empire that terrorized 3 territories for a decade has crumbled in a single morning. But Jack's not free yet. The marshal knows his past, the bank robbery, the wanted poster, 15 years of running. Elena's been negotiating with the law, offering testimony against Ramon's entire criminal network in exchange for Jack's pardon. It's delicate work, this bargain with justice. Will it work? Jack asks when Elena explains. It has to. Her fingers tighten on his. I didn't outsmart my father and bring down his empire just to lose you to a hangman's rope. The weeks that follow are strange, painful, and hopeful in equal measure. Jack heals slowly, his body knitting itself back together while Elena sits vigil, reading to him from dime novels about cowboys and outlaws, the irony not lost on either of them. They talk about everything and nothing, her childhood in her father's shadow, his years of lonely drifting, the future they might have if the law shows mercy. The trial comes like a storm. The courtroom in Silver Creek is packed. Everyone wants to see the devil of the borderlands face justice. Elena takes the stand with her head high, her voice steady, as she catalogues her father's crimes. Every murder, every robbery, every innocent life destroyed. Ramon Vasquez stares at her with pure hatred, and when the judge asks if he has anything to say, he spits at his own daughter. You're dead to me. You hear me, girl? Dead. Elena doesn't flinch. Jack, sitting in the gallery with his arm still in a sling, watches her stand tall against the man who should have loved her and chose cruelty instead. He's never been more proud of anyone in his life. The verdict comes swift. Ramon Vasquez, guilty on 23 counts, sentence, death by hanging, and Jack McKenna, pardoned, in recognition of his testimony and his attempt to save innocent lives. The marshal shakes his hand, tells him he's a free man, free to start over, free to build something new. That night, in the small room Elena's rented above the general store, Jack holds her while she cries, not for her father, but for the girl she used to be, the one who still hoped her father might love her. Jack understands. He's been running from his own ghosts for 15 years. "What do we do now?" Elena asks, her voice small against his chest. Jack kisses the top of her head, breathing in the scent of her hair, sage and desert wind, and something uniquely her. "Now we stop running. We find a place to call home. We build a life. Together. Together." But even as he says it, Jack can't shake the feeling that their story isn't quite finished yet. Freedom is one thing. Learning how to live with it, how to believe you deserve it, that's something else entirely. And that's the hardest journey of all. 6 months later, and Jack McKenna is learning that peace is harder than war. The ranch sits on the California coast where grassland meets ocean, a small patch of land they bought with Elena's reward money from the territorial government. It's not much, a modest house, a barn that leans slightly west, 40 acres of stubborn soil that fights them for every seed they plant. But it's theirs. No ghosts here. No past lurking in the shadows. Just Jack, Elena, and the future they're building one day at a time. Jack works the land, gentling horses instead of breaking them, teaching them to trust rather than fear. It's slow work, patient work, the kind of work that requires a man to quiet the violence inside himself and find something softer. Some days it comes easy. Some days his hands shake and he hears gunfire in the wind and has to walk down to the ocean just to remember how to breathe. Elena understands. She has her own demons, nightmares where her father's still alive, still hunting her, still trying to drag her back into darkness. On those nights, they hold each other and wait for dawn. Two broken people learning how to be whole together. Today is their wedding day. It's a simple ceremony, just them, the circuit preacher, and a handful of neighbors who've accepted them despite whispers about their past. Elena wears a simple white dress she sewed herself. Jack wears his only good shirt and the weight of words he's been practicing for weeks. The preacher asks him to speak his vows, and Jack, this man who spent 15 years in silence, finds his voice. "I spent most of my life learning how to be alone," he says, his rough hands holding Elena's delicate ones. "Thought that's all I deserved, all I could handle. You taught me something harder, how to let someone in, how to stay when every instinct says to run, how to believe that maybe, just maybe, I'm worth loving." His voice cracks on the last word, but he doesn't look away from her eyes, those dark eyes that saw through his armor that first day in Redemption Flats. Elena's vows are simpler, but no less powerful. "You saved my life in that dusty street, but you gave me something more valuable than survival. You showed me that love doesn't have to be a cage, that it can be freedom, that it can be choosing each other every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." They kiss as husband and wife while the Pacific crashes against the cliffs, wild and free and constant, and Jack thinks this is what home feels like. As the sun sets, painting the sky in gold and crimson, they stand on their porch, watching the horizon. A rider appears in the distance, and Jack tenses, old habits dying hard, before the rider waves and continues past. Just a traveler, nothing more. Elena squeezes his hand, and Jack breathes out the tension. This is their life now. Peaceful, normal, good. Still afraid? Elena asks softly. Every day, Jack admits. But not of bullets or outlaws or the past catching up. I'm afraid of losing this, of losing you, of waking up and finding out it was all a dream. Then I guess I'll just have to keep proving it's real. She kisses him as the stars begin to emerge. And Jack McKenna, the loneliest man in the West, realizes he hasn't felt lonely in months. Here's what the Wild West taught this lonely cowboy. Love isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about finding someone brave enough to face the darkness with you and still choose light. It's not about being fearless. It's about being afraid and staying anyway. Jack and Elena didn't get their happy ending because they defeated the villains. They got it because they refused to let fear and loneliness define them. In a land where survival meant isolation, they chose connection. In a world that rewarded hardness, they chose vulnerability. And that choice, that daily decision to open their hearts despite the risk, that's what transformed them from two broken people into something stronger together. The Wild West was unforgiving, brutal, and lonely. But even there, love could bloom in the most unlikely places if you were brave enough to water it. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever taken a chance on love when everything told you to protect yourself? Have you ever found connection in the most unexpected place? Drop your story in the comments below. And if this tale of cowboys and romance touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We've got more stories of love in unlikely places coming your way, from forbidden romances in Victorian England to star-crossed lovers in ancient Rome. Don't miss them. Your next great love story is just one click away. Until then, remember, even the loneliest heart can find its home. You just have to be brave enough to let someone in.